Greetings all. Welcome to our English class. After understanding notice writing and several grammar topics, we begin with the comprehension of unseen passage. It is considered to be the important part of reading skill in your exams. Reading is to the mind as exercise is to the body. You must have heard a room without a book is like a body without a soul. So children, in order to improve our comprehension skill from the reading, let us learn how to attempt comprehension passages. Let's start. Let's see what are the topics going to be covered in today's lesson. Number 1. Introduction and meaning. You will all learn what a comprehension is and how we should read and focus on the given passage. Number 2. Important steps to remember. You will all know what are the important steps to be remembered while doing comprehension. Number 3. Writing the answers. How should we answer the provided questions in the comprehension? Number 4. Vocabulary strategies. What are the vocabulary strategies that you need to attain while doing the comprehension? Types of passages. You will all come to know 4 types of passages. And number 6. Comprehension passage. You all are supposed to understand the passage which is given in this lesson and also to interpret it in your words to write down the answers. So let's start. Introduction and meaning. What a comprehension is. Comprehension means the ability to understand what is said or written. It involves the ability to interpret and evaluate also. So, what you have to do? You have to read the given passage and then interpret it in your words. That is called the comprehension. Then comes reading the passage how. How should we read and focus on the given passage? It is very important to learn to read the passage properly. The first reading is done quickly. The aim is to get at the main idea of the given passage. This type of reading is known as skimming. I hope you all have understood what a skimming is. When you read the passage properly and the first reading is done quickly, just to run the passage through your eyes is called skimming. The second reading, called scanning, is done slowly with the view to understand the passage thoroughly. I hope you all would have scanned the photographs or scanned the book many times before, so this word would not be new to all of you. This is already heard about. So scanning is when everything is being scanned thoroughly, very slowly and very steadily with the view to understand the passage thoroughly. That is called the second reading and the scanning. Then thirdly, it is a good idea to read questions before the second reading. Yes, what I have told you, first of all you have to give a quick reading to the passage. That the quick reading you give to the passage is called a skimming. Then after going to have the first reading of the passage, you have to read the given questions before going to start the second reading. Okay, then you start the second and the final reading, which is called the scanning, and that should be done very slowly. If you need to underline the answers of the given questions, then you can keep underlining simultaneously. which will help you a lot writing the answers there in the answer sheet. I hope these all the reading of the passage instructions are clear to you. So, this is very important, children, to remember all the important steps. You should not ever forget what are the important steps to reach to the conclusion. Number 1, read the text carefully. You all are requested to go through the text very carefully. Then secondly, skim for general information. Skimming is already explained to all of you that the first and the quick reading of the given passage is called skimming. So this is for the general information that what a passage is about and what our topic going to deliver to all of us. So that general information is very important for going to know about the answer. Then comes scan for particular information. Scanning is the third step to know about the answers. First of all, the skimming, then you have to read the questions, and thirdly you have to scan for the particular information. Number 4, learn to distinguish between the focus of the paragraph and the subsidiary or background information. Very important, you have to read the passage very carefully, and to give whole concentration on the paragraph, you need to know the background information too. I hope you need to distinguish between the focus of the paragraph and background information is clear to everyone. Then we will move on to the last important step, which is about the reading passage on a subject about which you know nothing at all. Yes, it may also happen that sometimes you face a reading passage on a subject about which you know nothing at all. But it is also important to note that the answers to almost all the questions are in the text itself. Don't panic seeing the passage is unknown to you, and how would you find the answers of these kind of questions. It is very important, then don't feel panic. Don't show your bewilderedness to see the passage that this is completely unknown to you and how to reach to the conclusion of the given questions. It won't be creating any difficulty if you have read the passage very carefully. So I repeat the last important point, sometimes you may face a reading passage on a subject about which you know nothing at all. So don't panic, don't feel any time bewildered that how to come out of this kind of questions. But it is important to know that the answers to almost all the questions are in the text itself. So you have to just mold the answers, you have to put it into your words and write it into the answer sheet. Writing the answers. In order to write answers, you should be careful of the following points. Answer the questions in the same tense in which the question is put. I have already explained this point so many times in different writing skills also, that you must follow up the same tense with which you have started the answer. So this is the same thing which has been repeated over here, that answer the questions in the same tense. If you have started writing the answer in present tense, kindly finish it also within the present tense. And you have all been taught the 4 different types of present tense, 4 types of past tense, and 4 types of future tense. So please use the proper tense in writing the answers. Secondly, write grammatically correct sentences. all sentences which you form in writing the answers should be grammatically correct. Thirdly, try to be brief to the point. Brief and to the point means you should always find the relevant information which is actually required in the question. So, according to the question, you should find out the important information and write in the answers. Then comes revise your answers to check spellings, punctuation marks and rules of grammar. This is also very important, children. You have to revise after writing all the answers. Please have a look, have a glance of your answers, that have you written all the spellings correct? Have you written all the punctuation? Have you put all the punctuation marks correctly? And the rules of grammar are also used properly or not? So this is all about writing the answer. Vocabulary strategies. What are they? In reading comprehension, there will be 3 or 4 marks for assessing vocabulary skills. They are very important to remember that if you find any new or unfamiliar words or phrases in the text, try to guess the meaning. Anyhow, you have to find the appropriate word. It might be synonym or antonym. So, to find out the appropriate word for the given question, you have to make a little guess to reach to the conclusion. Number 2, think about whether the word is similar to any word you already know. Similar means synonym. If you are given to find out the synonym, you have to relate with the word which you already know about, and you can write that word over there. Then comes check the context to be sure you understand what this section of the text is about. You have to check the complete context so you can make it sure that what you understand and what this section of the text is about is correctly written or not. There are 4 types of passages. Number 1, factual passage. It gives us some factual information or description of something. It may be a report writing or a form of description or instruction, etc. Then comes number 2, discursive passage. It is argumentative, persuasive, or interpretative. It provokes the reader to think. These kind of passages in which there are arguments. Persuasive means to persuade something, to convince something, or interpretative means to interpret the given passage in your words. If you find this kind of discursive passage, you will definitely see that it has provoked the reader to think and to reach to the conclusion. Number 3, literary passage. It may be a story, an essay, etc., which is remarkable for its literary style and content. Number 4, poem. It may be a full poem or an extract of a long poem. In Form 6, you will face 2 types of passages. One would be based on factual or discursive or literary, and the second would be definitely a poem. So you have to prepare yourself to find out the answers from the given poem or from the extract of a long poem. I hope these 4 types of passages are clear to all of you. Let's read an interesting passage and find out its answers. This passage is based on a missing cat. Read the passage, then answer the questions. I request all of you to read this passage with me. The owner of a missing cat is asking for help. My baby has been missing for over a month now, and I want him back so badly, said Mrs. Brown, a 56-year-old woman. Mrs. Brown lives by herself in a trailer park near Clovis. She said that Clyde, her 7-year-old cat, did not come home for dinner more than a month ago. So she called the police. When the policeman asked her to describe Clyde, she told him that Clyde had beautiful green eyes, had all his teeth, but was missing half of his left ear, and completely white. She then told the officer that Clyde was about a foot high. A bell went off. Is Clyde your child or your pet? The officer suspiciously asked. Well, he is my cat, Mrs. Brown replied. Lady, you are supposed to report missing persons, not missing cats, said the irritated policeman. Well, who can I report this to? She asked. You can't. You have to ask around your neighborhood or put up flyers, replied the officer. Mrs. Brown figured that a billboard would work a lot than an 8 by 11 piece of paper on a telephone pole. There was an empty billboard at the end of a street just off the interstate highway. The billboard had a phone number on it. She called that number and they told her they could blow up a picture of Clyde from Mrs. Brown's picture album and put it on the billboard for all to see. But how can people see it when they whiz by on the interstate? She asked. Oh, don't worry, ma'am. They only whiz by between 2 a.m. and 5:30 a.m. The rest of the day, the interstate is so full of commuters that no one moves. They told her if it would cost only $3,000 a month. The month has passed, but Clyde has not appeared because she has almost no money in savings. Mrs. Brown called the local newspaper to see if anyone could help her rent the billboard for just one more month. She is waiting, but so far no one has stepped forward. So children, this is all about the missing cat Clyde. This is called the skimming. You have to go through the questions and then you will again read the passage, means you will again scan the whole story to write all the answers in your words. Number 1, what is the theme of the story? Number 2, give the description of Clyde. Number 3, did Mrs. Brown use a flyer or the billboard? Number 4, how much did it cost? Number 5, did she find Clyde? If not, why? So after reading these questions, you would have got a little idea like that what are the questions about and from where you have to pick up the answers. Now the first one, the theme of the story. Yes, what is the theme? Theme is something around what the story revolves. Like here, the story revolves around the missing cat Clyde. So you could easily form the answers. Theme can vary from person to person. As I say that this story revolves around the beautiful cat who was very affectionate to his owner. Like that, you can also form the answer in your words. Number 2, give the description of Clyde. This is very simple and easy to find. Clyde had beautiful green eyes, had all his teeth, but was missing half of his left ear. 7-year old and completely white. Clyde was about a foot high. So this was all about the description of Clyde. Then comes question 3. Did Mrs. Brown use a flyer or the billboard? You all know Mrs. Brown used the billboard because it would work more than a flyer. Number 4. How much did it cost? It would cost only $3,000 a month. I hope these all answers would have got understood to you. Then comes the last question. Did she find Clyde? If not, why? What would you write in this answer? The month has passed, but Clyde has not appeared. Because she has almost no money in savings, Mrs. Brown called the local newspaper to see if anyone could help her rent the billboard for just one more month. She is waiting, but so far no one has stepped forward. So this was all about the beautiful passage of Missing Cat. I hope you would have got a little idea how to interpret the answers in your words. I hope after understanding all the important points, how to comprehend the passage, you would be able to attempt all the answers correctly in the comprehension passage. Thank you so much.